What's going on, everybody? Chase on Two Wheels here, and in front of us we have a 2021 Yamaha MT07. This is the same MT07 we have had for quite a while here at the shop. Yamaha has been so nice to let us borrow it, and today we are doing the city riding test. I am so excited for this because I think this is going to be an area where this motorcycle absolutely shines. So we're going to get on the bike, we're going to commute down to Atlanta, Georgia, a couple exits down the highway, and we're going to ride this thing around our city path to see how it fares. I don't think there is a better motorcycle right now for city riding than the MT07, so today should be an absolutely glorious day. You guys make sure to hit that like button down below if you are excited for this city riding test. Without further ado, let's get on this thing, let's jump down the highway, let's get to Atlanta, and let's see what this bike is all about for city riding. And yes, wheelies will happen. Let's get started. Alright, we got our big 90-degree turn to welcome us into Atlanta. Alright, and we are here. Guys, I made it down the highway and I'm here in Atlanta now. That is a tiny little puppy. And I am reminded how crappy the MT07 is on the highway. We have a windy day today, and bro, I'm just going down the road on the highway, just getting blown around. So keep this in mind. The bike is super light. I'm sure that will be helpful throughout our ride today, but as far as the highway goes, it is 100% an issue with how light this bike is. So guys, keeping up with our little conversation of the lightness of the bike, you know, from the highway, that's kind of the first thing I really kind of realize here when we get in the city. As we know, in the city you're going to be stopping and going, you're going to be moving around a lot, and the lightweightness, the weight of the MT07 and how light it is, it sucks on the highway, but man, when you get downtown and there's a lot of stop and go and you're going to have to hold the bike up with your legs and stuff, the bike is so light, and that makes it a freaking dream down here because I don't have to worry about weight and stuff like that. Wheelie through the tunnel? Yay! Well, that's fun. Yeah, that lightweight, guys, like I can just throw this bike all around. Feels like a toy, feels very playful. The lightweightness is one of the major characteristics that gives this bike its playful nature. One thing I am looking forward to, this road coming up is the road I always look and see how the suspension is. I don't know about cities where you guys live. In Atlanta, the roads are terrible. They're not as bad as roads I've ridden in LA. The suspension on the MT07 is notoriously its major drawback. I am going to intentionally keep my butt in the seat on this upcoming road when we take this left because the road sucks. It's specifically why I take bikes to this road, because I want to know, like, if you're stuck in you can't stand up. These aren't adventure bikes. You're not going to stand up on a bike the whole time you're riding it. I want to hit bumps and I want to see how it goes. This is me subjecting my body to this for you guys. I do it for science, really. Alrighty. You know, it's one of those things, man. The suspension on this bike, it's not the best suspension for sure. Nobody's arguing that. It's super soft, and what that helps with, one, you can bounce the bike up on a wheelie, but when you go over hard spots in the road, that soft suspension does a much better job than a hard suspension of kind of absorbing all the bumps. So if you're in an area where the road kind of sucks, an MT07 is not going to be a bad bike, man, because that suspension, it's got it's non-inverted forks, so all the heavy parts are at the bottom. That makes it not as good, not as agile in like aggressive riding, but I find that it soaks up bumps way better. It might also have to do with the bike's not really that heavy, which kind of goes back to our lightweight conversation, but I got no issues with how it's soaking up bumps up over here. Transmission's having no problems going in neutral, out of neutral, popping into first, second, neutral. I feel like I'm constantly just juggling juggling those 3 gears in this kind of crappy traffic. That's one of the things I gotta give props to Yamaha about, is their transmissions feel so just locked. All right, finally get it to go. Jesus. Whoa, bro, what is happening on this ride today? We are hitting every piece of traffic I possibly can. I even hit traffic on the highway on the way here, guys. This is a stopped MT-07 city test. Or is it just a pure city test? And this is just a great example of the shit show that big cities are. Bike's getting a little warm. Fan's been on. I would say, honestly, from 0 to Panigale, bike's probably looking at like a 3 or 4. It's not bad at all. I wouldn't even complain about this level of heat, and that's where the fan's turning on. So I don't see the bike getting that much hotter. The good thing about the fan turning on is it's not blowing that heat towards me. I'm not feeling it extra at all. So I'm going to lose my mind if we don't go soon. I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. I should have just said that earlier, and I guess we'd have probably gone. All right. It looks like we might have made it out of the traffic, guys. Let's hope we can just ride the MT-07 around the city. Another thing we can talk about, maneuverability. So, with a light motorcycle, with handlebars, something that inevitably is going to come up is the maneuverability. This is probably one of the top 3 things that make the MT-07 such an amazing city bike, is because even at low speeds, having these high handlebars, it allows me to get in and out of all the little crevices you're going to find yourself in the city. You know, you're going to have debris on the ground, or a manhole cover, or a car riding in both lanes. You know, you're gonna have a ton of circumstances thrown at you randomly. That's one of the things I have to have a naked bike if I'm riding a lot in the city, because you got to have that quick and snappy maneuverability, and you just don't have that on like something like a Super Sport that has clip-ons. You need these, you know, upright handlebars to throw that. I mean, look at the range of motion at the front. I feel like in the city you got to have stuff like this. So the MT-07, it's got a really good mixture of weight and handlebars. I've compared the MT-07 in recent videos to a Supermoto, and that's one of the very Supermoto feels that this bike has, is the light-weighted maneuverability. Super clutch in areas like this where you don't want to get hit by a van or any other vehicle. Speaking of kind of downtown settings and, you know, random situations you're going to find yourself in, the ABS, look at that, slamming on brakes on kind of slick pavement, and ABS is stopping me with no problem. Unfortunately, downtown settings, they are super random. You know, you could ride the same road every day for a year, and that road could be different. Between the construction that we've been seeing, you guys are going to find yourselves coming across things that you didn't see the day before or the day before that. Something that's really helpful is to have ABS. We have ABS on the front and rear of the MT-07 here. You know, when they need to, they lock up, and they don't let you slide out, like slide the wheels out or lock the wheels up. That is something, especially for if you're a newer rider and you might not have, you know, the experience to really brake correctly to not slide your or to lock your wheels up. For you guys, I love the MT-07's ABS for that. I would much rather you guys have ABS. If you panic, the bike's not going to let your wheels lock up. Last thing you want is to lock the front up, you know. From a light, this thing pulls so good, dude. I've told you guys this all over the place. This CP2 engine I love, and bro, nowhere do I love it more than a downtown setting. My goodness, the power of this CP2 engine is so good, dude. First gear, you've got torque for days. Second gear, you continue the torque for days. Third gear, you can still yank it up and get the wheel up. Honestly, in a downtown setting, you ain't going past third gear on most motorcycles. That's where you're gonna live. You'll get into third rarely, you know, because it's a lot of stop and go. But the city, my favorite gears on the MT-07 are second and third. Second, only because I love wheelies. Third, because it's a really good universal gear for this motorcycle. The city riding is built up for the best spots in the MT-07's, the CP2 like power band. It feels like a city setting is what this bike is made for, because that's where all the power is. So like, honestly, you could have a much bigger motorcycle. Let's say an MT-09, let's say an MT-10. You're not going to benefit at all by having a bigger motorcycle in the city because you don't have anywhere to use it. All those bigger bikes, they have to rev up to get going. The MT-07 don't have to, bruh. It's here, it's ready to go. It's got torque on tap. You know, something that's a huge testament to this motorcycle is the fact that I've probably been riding for, I don't know, an hour right now, and I've barely gone anywhere. Now, in some motorcycles, I may hate my life at this moment. I think it's a giant testament to this motorcycle that I'm not in a bad mood right now. I am totally fine and am okay with this shitty traffic that I've had to deal with. The majority of the time I had my R6s, I lived in downtown, like right around here, honestly. And bruh, I would get in such a bad mood because that bike sucks so hard riding around areas like this. Yet, I can be on this thing, which is a arguably slower motorcycle for most circumstances, and I'm totally good. I don't give a single care because my back ain't hurting, my wrists ain't hurting, I'm light, I'm maneuverable, I can get in and out of all the little crevices I got to. I don't understand how somebody would want a super sport and ride around in the dang city all the time. Look how fine the MT-07 is riding just casual. Do I want to pass this car on the right before that van? Yes. Do I have the ability to with the torquey engine? Absolutely. Do I want to die today? No, I don't, so I'm not going to. That's something we can touch on. Throttle input / power delivery. One of the things you got to keep in mind when you're picking a motorcycle, especially, you know, we're testing here in a downtown setting, the engine is important. Yes, 100%, but how that engine delivers power is almost, if not more important than the actual engine itself. The MT-07 has the ability to be extremely torquey, but if it delivered that torque in a very jerky way, it would be very hard to ride down here because you got enough stuff going on. The last thing you need to be dealing with is like a jerky throttle. I've had no problems with throttle control on the MT-07. And you guys know we don't have these bikes for very long, so I don't have time to really just nail down how the bike likes to be ridden. I kind of just have to give you guys my impressions, and I've really enjoyed the power delivery on this thing. Based on the time I've ridden it, I feel like part of that is that it's a cable actuated throttle, like I'm actually controlling the power. So there's no computer input messing with stuff. And that makes me feel really confident riding around on top of, you know, just not being exhausted from leaned over a motorcycle. But the throttle input, super consistent. And I guess that's what you get when you get a cable actuated throttle. You know, it's consistent because it's all you. We find ourselves in traffic again. But the buildings are cool, so let's get nice suit, my guy. Yes, I like that. You are a unique individual. So guys, as we find ourselves stuck in traffic yet again, let's talk about the clutch. If you guys have ever been stuck in traffic, the weight of your clutch, and what I mean by weight is how much energy it takes to pull this clutch in. I would say the clutch here, medium to light, you know, not medium, not light, but kind of on the medium light side. Super helpful. I don't like a super light clutch because I don't feel like I'm doing anything and I can't get that finesse down. I feel like the weight on the MT-07 is really solid. Fingers are somehow not that tired, and we have been constantly on the clutch today, which is just something that happens. You know, we're in those settings that you're going to be on your clutch a lot, and haven't had a problem some freaking how. Guys, something that I haven't touched on yet that I definitely want to touch on, and which kind of makes this motorcycle, you know, it's one of the key factors that makes this bike what it is really, is the body position. And the body position is what brings everything that I've been talking about kind of together, because all of the things, all the, you know, great aspects of this bike that make it good for city riding, all of those things individually are good, but it's the combination of all the things together with the body position that really makes this thing shine above anything else on the market right now. My back's upright. I've got all that maneuverability with my, not only my body, but my handlebars, you know, and I can flick the bike around. I wouldn't be able to flick the bike around so much with the handlebars if it wasn't for how lightweight the motorcycle was. I wouldn't be able to skirt in and out of little situations if I didn't have the torquey little CP2 engine that the MT07 has. I don't know. Those things all combined make for an extremely capable city bike. Maybe the most capable city bike on the market right now. I think is gonna be my tagline with this, because I've ridden it, man. I believe it. I guess we could talk about brakes real quick. I mean, in the city, I don't see yourself using a ton of brakes because you're just not going that fast. But the brakes have been fine. I haven't had any issues with either the front or the rear brakes, either in the actual brake themselves or the lack thereof. I feel like they're pretty adequate and totally capable for the job that I'm asking them to do down here. So guys, wrapping this video up, I realized that I did something that I never like to do, and that is talk nothing but good about a motorcycle, because nothing's perfect. I'm not using the P word. I will admit I'm having a hard time thinking of a better motorcycle for downtown city riding. And, you know, to be fair, a lot of the 650s are going to probably fall into this class, and I'm going to have similar feelings about a lot of those. If I was in a video game and I could change the stats of this motorcycle to better suit this type of riding, I don't know what I would change. Other than the mirrors suck. That's honestly the only thing I can think of, I think. So let's do this, guys. I know a lot of you guys, you know, you might ride the MT07. The MT07 is an incredibly popular motorcycle. If any of you guys ride MT07s, or based on this video, you guys are gonna have to let me know. Am I just blinded by my love for this bike, or is there something you guys would change to make this bike a better vehicle for city riding? Because from my perspective, this thing's about as good as it gets, guys. After you do that, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. I'm Chaseontwowheels. I appreciate you guys riding around with me today, and hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully we can get some MT07 riders in the comments down below, and you guys can help us figure out, is this bike just the perfect city bike? I don't know. I don't like the P word, but we might have found a perfect user case for a motorcycle. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna, I guess, be stuck on the highway for a little bit. If you enjoy motorcycle content, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Later. Outro crew, what's going on, fam? So, two things. One, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button. And let me know in the comments, guys, did we find the perfect bike for city riding? I kind of think we did. Also, why does that lady have 3 bags of chips in the back of her car? And on her phone. Let's watch. Oh yeah, she's definitely going to run into somebody for sure. Alright guys, outro crew, make sure to put OC in your comment. That's how I know you're in the outro. O crew C. Outro crew. Love you guys just a little bit longer, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.